it's a wonderful day in the neighborhood, guys. And I say that because now there's a theory by Screen Rant. Shouts out to them, by the way. And shouts out to Andrew Dice for making this wonderful ass article. And I say that because apparently, if you guys read, the title of the article, it says Loki may have been mind controlled in the Avengers throughout the entire Avengers, and it makes a lot of sense. And I say that because Marvel has officially confirmed Thor's brother was under the influence of the Mind Stone in the Avengers, which raises the question: was Loki ever really a villain at all? Now, honestly, that would be a controversial debate in itself, since Tom Hiddleston's Loki has been the MCU's best villain to date. So good, in fact, that he racked up more starring roles than some heroes. And to prove how far he had come from his days of evil villainy, Loki was given a hero's death in Avengers Infinity War. A death made even more tragic now that Marvel has confirmed a fan theory explaining why the Avengers villain wasn't the real Loki at all. How the hell is that possible? Well, I'm sure they're about to explain. The theory states that Loki fell prey to the Mind Stone. Okay, here's the theory. The theory has been alluded to or proposed a number of times and to varying degrees since the Avengers. So it isn't an excuse meant to pave the way for Loki's Disney TV show. A concise version of the theory can be found here. Pretty much, I'm looking at it right now. Hold on. All right, guys, from here you can see on Tumblr, Mrs. Joker, right there. There you go. However that's pronounced, I apologize. Here's the theory right here on Tumblr. It's simply amazing. Great work on their part. And there you go. Now, to keep it short, the theory suggests that the scepter given to Loki by Thanos couldn't just take over the minds of those it touched, Haga, Eric, Selvig, etc. It was also able to influence the person holding it. And I think we've seen that with Dr. Banner, and we kind of saw it with Tony too. A detail Thanos surprisingly failed to mention. I don't think he did. I think he purposely did that. But now, thanks to hindsight, we now know that Loki's scepter secretly contained the Mind Stone, one of the Infinity Stones that Thanos had already acquired prior to assigning Loki to the job of conquering Earth. And since the Infinity Stones are sentient in the comics, and the Mind Stone can override thought, Loki was just as susceptible to its power as anyone else. Thanos may or may not have known that when giving it to Loki, but either way, the disheveled and sickly appearance of Loki upon his arrival in Avengers is pointed to as major evidence of some kind of corruption. And so Marvel goes on to confirm the theory. So that you know right now, once you get a big thumbs up, or in the backing from Marvel, you know your damn theory is the shit. Now here it is. Now fans on Reddit have noted that Marvel's official character page for Loki has been modified. It isn't exactly clear when the changes were made, but without any fanfare whatsoever, the theory that the Mind Stone corrupted the Loki has been confirmed as canon. We'll let fans read through the Marvel-related passage copied below from Marvel's site. And it goes on to say, arriving at the sanctuary through a wormhole caused by the Bifrost, Loki met the other, really of the ancient race of extraterrestrials, the Chitauri and Thanos, offering the god of mischief domination over his brother's favorite realm, Earth. Thanos requested the Tesseract in return. Now, gifted with a scepter that acted as a mind control device, Loki would be able to influence others. Unbeknownst to him, the scepter was also influencing him, fueling his hatred over his brother, Thor, and the inhabitants of Earth. Oh man, there you have it. Loki was just as much as a victim of Thanos and the scepter as anyone else. And I think that's the reason why Loki, and I think that's another reason as to why, or at least you can say it factored in, to why Loki made that noble sacrifice in Infinity War, because I think he finally realized that he was completely expendable and disposable to Thanos. Like Thanos didn't give a fuck about fucking Loki. He just said, "Look, man, just give me my damn stone and be on your damn way." And potentially, since the Mind Stone was driving him to be more evil and hateful than he actually was at heart. So that lets you know right there that the scepter completely linked with Thanos' creed and decisiveness and and vindictiveness. You know, Loki was a victim too. As fucked up as that is, it makes a lot more sense, and I actually applaud Loki even more. Um, that certainly explains the more sadistic moments Loki enjoyed in the Avengers team up, and why he became a far more reasonable in later appearances. Once the influence and hatred fueled by the Mind Stone was removed, but if Loki can't really be held responsible for all his villainous actions in the movie, is it possible that Loki was never a villain to begin with? Yes, I believe it is. Continuation of what I said before, Loki really wasn't evil to begin with, especially in Thor. Now, it's easy to forget what Loki's actual motivations were in his first Marvel movie, mainly because it's so easy to forget how much of an idiot Thor was at the beginning of his story. I mean, and Thor really was a damn idiot. He really was truly unfit to be the king of Asgard. So yes, Loki engaged in a little deception that appeared to be, aimed against his father Odin, and yes, he maneuvered to get Thor banished to Earth so that he could claim the throne as king of Asgard. But neither of those betrayals turned out to be as evil or treacherous as they seemed. Because, like I said, for starters, Thor is completely unfit to be king when the movie begins. And one could argue that it was Loki's actions to spare Asgard his temper that sparked Thor's growth into a hero. So if you really want to give, if you really want to give someone the hero trophy, give it to Loki and put some respect on the man's name because in hindsight, or I should say in retrospect, he actually did, he helped mold Thor into the man that he is today. So, like I said, if it wasn't for Loki, Thor would not be the king of Asgard. So that's why I have so much respect for Loki now. I mean, after really watching Infinity War and seeing what he did for his brother and his people, I had a new profound respect for Loki. Now, moving on with this. But more importantly, Loki had reasons for everything he did. Man, let's speak on this real quick. Having been lied to all his life, because it turned out he was a frost giant, Loki sought to kill Asgard's greatest enemy, the Frost Giants, which is his actual people. To prove his allegiance, his love, and his competence to his adopted father Odin. He was a misguided antagonist and a foil to Thor. Yes. But to call Loki a villain would be too simple and frankly too uncharitable. Because after all, Odin denying his approval and instead uttering a simple no was all it took for Loki to throw himself into oblivion, eyes filled with tears at having disappointed his adopted father. Unlike the usual comic book villains who want to do evil or take over the world, Loki's goal made sense. The fact that he was willing to do too much to get it made him compelling and tragic, not villainous, which is why he was so popular with fans, and a perfect choice to return as the villain of the Avengers. Moving on, Loki wasn't evil after the Avengers either. Oh, what word? Serious? Now, taking Loki's actions in Avengers out of the equation to determine how good or evil he was, the Thor sequels continue to give him the kind of writing usually reserved for a Marvel hero. And keeping in mind that Loki's family is a mess to begin with, because it really is. It's like a bag of screaming cats. It's hard to see most of his actions as completely evil at all. He unknowingly sends a dark elf assassin to his mother's chambers in Thor: The Dark World. But if that is a sign of villainy, how evil, and this is a good ass question, how evil is Peter Parker for failing to stop the criminal who killed his Uncle Ben? Damn. I never thought of it like that. Because let's be honest. Either way, Loki takes that guilt to heart and agrees to help Thor get a few steps closer to killing Malekith on behalf of both of them. He then fakes his death, and I apologize if I mispronounced his name. Sorry. He then faces death to take another crack at Odin's throne, which is what you would expect from a trickster god who believes he is the king by birthright, and which he actually kind of is. And technically, Loki's death in Thor 2 was going to be real until Marvel changed their plans, which just leaves his antics in Thor Ragnarok another installment of Loki playing his old part of a scheming jerk until he stands up for his people and continues to do it into Infinity War until he's killed for it. Now, unless you believe one of the theories claiming Loki to survive Thanos, despite the directors confirming that Loki seriously is dead, I'm sorry. Now, see, that's unless you believe one of the theories confirming theory that Loki survived Thanos, despite the directors confirming that Loki seriously is dead. He's seriously toast. He's finito. And to cap it off right here, guys, no matter what the future may hold for the Asgardian trickster, and trust us, we've got some ideas for Loki's return in Thor 4. Fans will want to thank these eagle-eyed Redditors for catching what Marvel confirmed in private. And I do. I thank all those eagle-eyed Redditors, man. Like I said, I thank Reddit all the single time. Shout out to Marvel, Tom Hiddleston for playing such an incredible role, man. Chris Hemsworth for playing Thor. All those guys, man. Thank you. Shout out to Andrew Dice who wrote this article. And shout out to Screen Rant as usual, man. You guys do a great job, man. I wouldn't be here without you guys. This has been your boy Sheriff Speaks, man. Make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you guys have any requests as to what videos you guys want to do next, please let me know in the comment section below. They're always welcome. They always will be. This has been your boy Sheriff Speaks, man. I hope you guys had a great Christmas. Hope you guys have a wonderful New Year. And I hope you can accomplish all your dreams and wishes, man. Peace and love.